Okay, so I'm planning to perhaps record some videos and possibly stream. Um, I have my own channel where I put my education videos and stuff for my students, but I also have this gaming channel I created, a whole 3 subscribers, but I'm throwing gaming stuff up there. Maybe when I'm actually playing, I'll stream. I could stream here on YouTube, which I did the other day, kind of raw stuff that I might edit. And then the other day, I also sent stuff out to Twitch, so you can check things out there. I might stream once in a while there. I don't think I'll have a schedule because I'm busy with other things. So what I'm gonna record right now actually is I've been watching a lot of well, not a lot, but I've been watching Skyrim videos again. So let's see if I bring up. Let me see if I can bring up the channel that I've been watching. This chap, Canadian as well, creates a lot of cool Skyrim videos. So this is his major Skyrim channel. Most of this is all Skyrim stuff. The latest one he's doing is really intense. It's a hardcore version where he's wearing this mask that makes all guards hostile all the time, and it's also survival mode. It's pretty intense. This is his latest video, but he's got a lot of videos about Skyrim that he's played. And then if you actually jump over to his channels, he's got Slack Lab is where he uploads his raw stuff, and then the major Slack videos for those of you that might be interested in Elden Ring might want to check that as well because he's doing a lot of walkthroughs for other games on his other channel. But anyway, I recommend checking out his work. Really good stuff. A lot of my strategies of Skyrim are based on him, and he kind of encouraged me just to play Legendary because it requires more strategy playing Legendary. And so you could do just stock vanilla Skyrim. That's basically what he runs. He runs very minimal plugins. He doesn't even use the unofficial patch, and there's definitely reasons for that. But I like playing around modded Skyrim. Modding is a pain, so I've recently discovered Wabbajack, which is the simple way to play modded various games. So let's see if we choose. Let me choose, please. It won't let me choose. I want to choose. Let's see if I can find it here. There's the one that I'm looking at. So uh, Tranquility is the one I decided to go with. So let me just bring up that page here. So this is the mod that I'm running of Skyrim, modded version of Skyrim. It requires some pretty beefy hardware, at least a 6 GB graphics card, which I've got. And it's got lots of changes to the visuals. So that's what I'm going to record a video about. And basically, I've got a recording all set. I've got it queued up here. I just want to dub over top because there's no audio of the 0th episode, which is character creation. So I'm going to audio dub on top of that, and then I'll release this. All right, here's the audio dub over top of the character creation that I did. So again, this is the Tranquility um, mod distribution on top of Skyrim, Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. And you can install this really easily through Wabbajack. I'll put the links below. Sorry about the noise from my phone. So the character creation has a lot of modifications from the default, definitely. And so what I'm doing here is I'm just creating a Breton because, well, that gives you some advantages, especially in terms of magic resistance. So that's what I'm doing. I'm setting up a Breton here. I'm just going to silence up my phone so it's not being so darn noisy while I'm recording. And yeah, just kind of checking out the views. One of the big changes here, you'll see character creation starts off right here when you start the game, and it's got an alternative start mod. And that alternative start mod puts you in this room in Helgen at the inn that gets, well, spoiler alert, gets destroyed by the dragon. And so you start in a inn room here. You can set yourself up, do your character modification, and then you can choose where to start. So there's a couple of popular mods for alternate starts, and this is the one that comes with Tranquility. And so I'm just messing around with the setup here and trying to find a decent view of my character. It's pretty impressive. There's just way too many options, and I pretty much just left everything default. You could go crazy with it, but I just wanted to create a general look, kind of my standard looking character. There's just so many things you can change here. And so we'll go through pretty much all the defaults, set up our character for a Skyrim playthrough. There we go. We are actually making some changes there, so some changes to the eyes. You can just get very, very radical in the change. You'll see later here in the recording, there's an advanced setting. There's some tabs across the top there. And there's some advanced where you can just get into the mesh of the character layout. It's pretty intense in terms of what customization you can do. And again, I didn't really go into too much, just kind of gave him my standard look for a player character in these types of games. There we go, going to the brow. I think this is where I go and turn off my hair so that I can actually see the brow. If I remember correctly, I think I'm going to make him bald so I can see what's going on. Looking for the bald hair. Where is it? There we go. Now I can actually see what the brow looks like. And that allowed me to choose something. Lot of options compared to the stock Skyrim. Character creation. So Skyrim just had their 10th anniversary, so what I've got installed is the anniversary edition. Myself, like many other people, have bought various versions of Skyrim, and the anniversary edition comes with some Creator Club editions, including fishing and survival mode, horse armor, which is a meme, you can look it up, and some other changes or additions, kind of included mods in the from the Creative Club. So that's what we're running here. Is basically I have through Steam anniversary edition of Skyrim set up, and if you follow the instructions for the Wabbajack install of Tranquility or any of the pretty much any Wabbajack installations, you want to create a default clean Skyrim install, and then you want to go from there. Make sure it's got a basic setup. Pretty much always have to run it in English depending on how the mods are set up, and then run the Wabbajack program and point it to the right locations of where you want to store all the downloaded files, which can take a long time, and then tell it where you want to create the build. Basically, it does a copy of your Skyrim installation to isolate it, so you could have multiple setups of Wabbajack modded installations. Using Mod Organizer 2 is what it runs it on top of. And what I did to try out different builds from Wabbajack is got lots of storage space on this desktop, so I created a drive directory with Skyrim downloads, and I use that for all of my Wabbajack installs, so that it might reuse something from a previous modded version of Skyrim and not have to re-download everything again. And that's a pretty darn big directory, actually. And so I've tried this one. I've tried a few different versions, and I like this. I was trying to find a Skyrim modded that was pretty close to vanilla in gameplay, but just better visuals. There's some like that. But this just came out and I wanted to try this one. So this one's got some changes in game mechanics. It's got a different skill system perk systems, sorry, modified based on the ordinator and some other changes. So I thought I'd try that. So that's what we're running on here. And so we're getting pretty close to the final character view. There we go. There's tons of stuff I don't even look at. And I'm just going, basically cranking through to the end here. Playing around with the camera settings here just because I've never seen this before. So playing around with the offset camera images. And I'll have to block that out. When you're recording, make sure you block pop-ups. So that was it about. Okay. Making a note here of when that pop-up showed up. So I can edit out the pop-up WhatsApp of my son sending me a message. A lot of you know that I usually run Linux as a desktop environment. This is a Windows setup, mainly for my kids also want to use this computer for various things, including gaming, but then work and school stuff. So I'm become a lot more agnostic of what operating system I'm running for different tools. Really, your operating system choice should be based on what do you need to get done. And for doing stuff like this, modded versions of Skyrim, it just works a lot better on Windows. So right now we're running on top of Windows 10 here on my workstation at home. So there we go. We got, this is the in room where you can start with this version of an alternate start. You go talk to the dragon, and it gives you options that you can choose for your start. So you can actually just choose the vanilla start. You can choose all sorts of options, beginning as a beggar, or been beaten up and left in the forest. There's all sorts, so you can just choose random, just throw me somewhere. What I'm going to choose for this playthrough is I start at the inn, where I'm just a guest at this inn, and this is where I start. And it's got some advantages that, and it's fun. You can just play around. So you can open up the stuff that's in the room, assuming this is all your stuff. So you open up and you get some starting gear and coins and stuff. I think that's what I show here. I'm going to go over and check what gear we can have. So this closet has some stuff I can grab, some food and other things at the table, a lockbox with some cash and some jewels and lockpicks, it looks like. Yeah, might as well go back there and we'll clean that out. You'll notice it has, like many versions of modded Skyrim, the Sky UI, which is a very handy interface. Not having to deal with the stock interface for navigating between containers is something I really like on my close to vanilla Skyrim play. This is definitely a mod I install right away as Sky UI. And then you can go out this door and it'll throw you into the inn in Helgen. And so this is what I was doing here. This won't actually be my start. I was just messing around trying to figure out what's available here. So it loaded up. You've got the Helgen Inn. Looks like pretty well all the inns in Skyrim. And just taking a look at where I am. So here you can see I'm in the Helgen town. Nice map overview. And there's the innkeepers walking around. Lighting's very nice. Almost a little too dark. I was checking if I could take stuff, and so I'm going to wander around the different rooms here just to give you a view, because when I did the playthrough, started the playthrough, I didn't do this. So you go upstairs and you can see, there's the son who's sleeping. And you can see him later in the game. If you haven't found him later in the game, he's staying with another character. And there's the innkeeper. He's having a nap. He'll wake up when you start. We'll see that in the other start of the playthrough. I'm just kind of doing the tour of the place here. Everything's marked as steel, so you could go up and take all this stuff, but I don't in my playthrough. And so that was the upstairs, and now we're back in the main floor, and there's a cellar as well, I believe. I recorded this sometime last week. And there we go. We're gonna go down the cellar. Yeah, there we go. Pretty dark. And there we are, your standard cellar. Lots of containers. One thing I noticed with this, one of the mods, it's adding that there's crates as well as barrels, and more of the barrels actually have stuff. I will be applying on survival mode, so looting all the barrels for food and food ingredients is pretty important. And so I didn't check everything. You could load this up and play around and see what's available. But let's go back to the main inn. Just checking my timeline here. I'm dubbing while I'm watching the video here. Back in the room. And you'll notice now that you've left that initial load, now everything's kind of been reset in your room and it's marked as steel. So if you're going to grab this stuff, grab it before you head out the first time. Just checking out all the other rooms. I couldn't figure out what was going on, why things reset, but it looks like when you make that initial exit from the room, it kicks off some changes to the gameplay. There's the innkeeper, I believe. And then I decided to go out and check things out. Look, if I remember correctly, it's very rainy. All these load screens have been modified as well. Nice looking load screens between. And so there we are. If you remember the original start of Skyrim, this is the road they come down and then they unload the carts. We'll see that in the next episode. And yeah, it's really rainy, so we can see all sorts of people in town running around to check things out. Played Skyrim many times, you'll recognize the locations. You don't see as much of this before Helgen gets destroyed, but I thought I'd take a look around and go into some of the locations. One thing I notice is when you actually do kick off the start, you're not as free to roam around as much. So if you want to roam around, take a look at Helgen before starting. You probably want to do what I'm doing here. Once you do kick off the activities where the wagons roll into town, I couldn't go farther up this road. I was getting blocked. So you'll see that actually in the playthrough. I think I was showing that in the start after I kicked things off. So I went back in here. Nope. I think I'm going to go up in the tower here. That's what I'm doing. And then I'll get myself killed a couple times if I remember correctly. So you could come here and sleep in the guard's tower. There's stuff here, money, etc. It's all populated. And we're going farther up, taking a look. You could take the stuff here if you really wanted to. I believe we go out the balcony and get ourselves killed a couple times here. Again, if you're jumping into the middle of the video for whatever reason, this is a modded version of Skyrim with the Tranquility mod pack. And yeah, I got owned by that guard, trying to hand them. One thing that's interesting about this set of mods is experience is not based on your skills. So you don't gain experience and levels by leveling up. You gain experience and level up your character in terms of levels based on exploration, killing things, etc. Finishing missions. So kind of a standard RPG type of leveling up. Your skills will level up independently on use, but they don't contribute to your character XP. So we'll try and burn him this time, and he's gonna whack me. I think I died 3 times. I think I started with punching, then fire, and if I recall correctly, then I pulled out a familiar. You can see the effects in the blood is different than stock. There we go. Yeah, I'm gonna pull out the familiar, I believe. The wolf. So I attack him to try to get my familiar to attack him. He's going to take that out pretty darn quick, and then he'll take me out. Except I tried to escape. And yeah, all the NPCs are going for me now. Done. And that looks like we're just about ready to wrap up, so that'll be it for this episode, and hopefully this is entertaining.